All right, this is episode 126 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers, and Steven's going to really regret drinking that much fluid right at the beginning of the show. All right, so joining me this week, the aforementioned Steven.
Blaze it.
Oh, God, it is that day, isn't it? I didn't even think about that. Rachel returning.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see someone basically shotgun a beverage in the first couple seconds of this.
We did something we didn't expect. And lastly, Chris.
My drug is garlic.
Happy Garlic Day.
And that'll pretty much kill off Steven. I think I started a small war with you guys when I sent you all that garlic.
Oh, it was so good.
The garlic chips. Let's just send more. Oh, man. So it's been a little while since the four of us have been together because, you know, people have been doing stuff. Like Rachel's been sick and still kind of sick. We'll see how that goes. Thankfully, it's non-communicable over podcast, so we're safe for this point. Well, Chris is down. So let's go ahead. Let's know what we've been up to so we can get caught up on that. So, Steven, let's start with you. What you been doing?
Well, first, because of the, and we'll talk about it later, the Indie Direct, they did shadow drop a bunch of demos. So, some quick impressions. I did try Saga Emerald Beyond. That's a game that could have come out on the DS in terms of its presentation. It was so cookie cutter and how the dialogue was done and everything was just put out there. But then the production value like leaped when you get into the battles. The battles seemed like something straight out of like a Xenosaga game where everything was nicely put together and it had all these explanations, and they had like some announcer come in whenever you did a really cool attack, and they were like, this is what you'd call a team attack when two people attack at the same time. I'm like, thank you. So that was interesting. It's one of those games that, because it's like a visual novel / RPG, it's probably going to be like another 10 or 20 hours before the demo's over. Then I
as long as it's not timed.
No, it's not. Then I tried Cat Quest 3. I love the Cat Quest games. The game is already better than Skull and Bones. I did a lot of ship battles. It was a lot of fun.
I think anything is better than Skull and Bones, if I'm being honest.
You get to take down the evil pirates and stuff on your furry adventures.
We have to check this out because I saw the
There's so many puns. Even when you're trying to watch a cutscene, there's a little button that says fast forward. Little things like that. The whole game's local co-op too, if you want somebody to jump in and help you. It's all real-time battles. But it's always been fun to play because everything just takes place on the map at when you're in the overworld in an RPG, but in this one you can run around all cartoony like. So now I have to go back and replay 1 and then 2 and then wait for 3.
I saw 1 and 2. You can get those as a set on the Switch.
Yeah, and I did. So now I need to kind of go through them all again.
I need to break down
so
and
that one's
really do that.
Really well done. Then I tried ANTONBLAST, which I can honestly say is not my style. It is way too chaotic, way too fast, way too noisy. I am basically the angry old man, and I'm just like, this is too much stuff. And I was just like, I need this turned down a notch because it was just too much going on at the same time. It was just off-putting for some odd reason.
This amp goes to 11.
I enjoyed the artwork. The comedy was great. But I was just like, there's just something weird about everything kept moving and yelling at me and screaming. It was like Dr. Katz and Beetlejuice had a baby. I was like, what is going on here?
You said the word. Look what you did.
No, Rachel.
So I was just
Rachel,
like, what is this art style? It's so weird.
It's like a puppy. Her ears just went boop.
Did you say walk? Did you say treat?
It's a Pavlovian response, okay? Literally.
After that, because people were talking about some of the scenes in it and such, I made sure to finish up season 2 of Invincible or even start it. So I purged, binged the entire season 2.
I
I'm
still
so
need to watch
happy
that
that
too.
that season 3 is almost done and it got picked up for 4 and 5. I think that is really well done, and I love when they don't tell me who's voicing who, and out of nowhere you just get to hear Optimus Prime out of nowhere. So I'm like, yes.
Oh, Peter
So,
Cullen.
really great stuff. The wife and I did catch up on X-Men 97, and we did watch that episode. Yeah,
Oh,
that
I'm not watching as it comes out because like I just have bad I don't want to upset myself that much.
I was just like,
Uh,
man, between that episode
yeah.
and Bluey's The Sign episode, cartoons are trying to make everybody cry.
It's
So,
that time of year, okay? Spring's supposed
so
to be happy, and I guess they all just want us to be sad.
on the pickup side of things, Walmart seems to be wanting to make room for either more games or less games. Who knows? So they've been marketing down a lot of their games for $5, $10, $20.
Mm-hmm.
So picked up 2 copies of Catan for Switch,
Oh shit!
so I can give one to the wife in case I need to play local.
I didn't know that was physically
Picked up
released.
DreamWorks All Star for 10. So far all these games were 10 apiece.
I may have to go to Walmart
Diablo
after the show.
5 for PS5 for 20. Not bad
Oh
for
wow!
Walmart. The Starfield upgrade for 20. So I was like, sweet.
That's funny.
And then I knew this was coming out, but Jax is making a Sega Superstars line, and there's only 3 in Wave 1. I'm missing
Mhm.
one wave. There's Super Monkey Ball
What?
is part of Wave 1.
I didn't know they were making those.
There's Altered Beast Werewolf.
I think that's the first figure of an Altered Beast character that I have ever seen.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I don't think it's
And
the
the only
first.
one I'm missing out of Wave 1 is Axel Stone from Streets of Rage 1. And then that's the first wave. And the creators of this said, like, if they sell a lot and Walmart keeps ordering more, they'll make more waves. And sky's the limit because they're allowed to, they have the license to do any character from any Sega property they want, except for Sonic, who's got their own deal.
Yeah, the problem is Walmart just won't stock them. They'll just have them, keep them in the back for years.
So they had plenty of Monkey Ball at the Walmart I was at, but they only had one Altered Beast. So I was like, okay, now I just
How
need
much
to
were
look
they
for
each?
Axel Stone.
How much were they each?
Like 10.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
No. Jinx, owe me a Coke. All right. Well, I will go ahead and jump into what I've been up to next for some of this. So X-Men 97, I wanted to talk about this one as well because Rachel, you're talking about you don't want to get upset, but episode 5 will kick you in the stomach.
I'm sure it will. I'm listen, I've only seen like no context clips of it, but I just have bad feelings about my boy Gambit, even though I know I'm gonna cry.
One of the writers was talking about it. The first half of the episode was written for like 90s nostalgia for people like me that were kids back then and everything. The second half he described as 9/11.
Ooh.
That's
Oh
the
my
difference
God.
of like of how the world got destroyed, like for the worldview for that.
Fun fact
After
though,
that
there was like blink and you missed it Easter eggs for everything from Gambit and others
Mhm.
that because I was learning more about the characters before I watched that episode,
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, they just did something I didn't notice, and I'm glad I watched this little vignette before I watched the episode and then there was at least, I want to say at least 2 parts that I was just like, they're gut punching.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about it later because I'm curious what parts you saw. Because like I grew up reading X-Men and all that stuff, so I'm curious because I don't know everything. There could be something maybe I wasn't even aware of, which would be fun. But episode 6 was really good. I like where it went, and I have some jokes for that one. Once you watch it, Steven, we'll talk about it.
Episode 4 though was my absolute favorite, especially for that remix theme. Oh yes, and the graphics.
Oh, the
That was great.
Motendo. Yeah, I'd play
That was the
game.
perfect. That was the perfect voice for Mojo that I could have picked.
I think it was the same one that they had. I did like bringing back the original Jubilee actress to play the other role, though. That was nice.
And Nightcrawler, they brought him back to the
Mm-hmm.
original voice actor.
I love Nightcrawler.
They did him good on this one. So the other thing I've been watching, keeping up with, this is the final season of Star Trek Discovery. And I'm liking the way the series is going. It's a really good deep cut throwback to the Next Generation story that's been continued, which is great because it's one of those big stories that happened back in TNG where you're like, okay, this should change everything. And then it just kind of went away and no one ever said anything about it again. And they've done a really good explanation as to why that happened, and it makes sense and kind of where it's going. So I'm curious to see how that goes. I hate that this is the last season, but I'm at least glad they were given a chance to finish it out somehow, to see where it goes.
Better than nothing.
As long as they don't end it like they did Quantum Leap.
Yeah, the new one got killed without notification. Well, Lower Decks got killed also. It's the next season that's airing is the end of it.
I mean, like, the older one, the original Quantum Leap, not only said Sam Beckett never made it home, but they misspelled his name.
They did. Yeah.
That was terrible.
I was like, that's the worst ending you could have gave him.
Sam Beckett never made it back.
Yeah, and the worst part of it's like he's trying to make it out like his leaping was done as a thing by God, and it's like, so God didn't let him go home? Come on.
Yeah.
Stephen, Chase, and I finished Gears of War Judgment as well as Aftermath, so that is now Gears of War 1, 2, 3, the expansion for 3, Judgment, and its expansion now that we've done. And then Chase and I have started and gone through the first 2 chapters, the prequel part and chapter 1 of Gears 4 now. So we're getting close to the end of the series, playing through all of them. Once we get through 4, Steven will bring you back in because we could have a third player in Gears 5 again.
Batista?
I promised that we would do it. I still don't know why 4 does not have 3 players. You have 3 players at all times. No matter what, they could have just done it. It does look really good, though. I'll give them that. That is a pretty game. Like they were kind of. I know 5 is even more. They were showing off with that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is I randomly picked up a game yesterday while I went out to lunch with Amanda, and we decided to walk by Best Buy because I wanted to look and see the very sad hole where the media stuff used to be. No more movies or TV shows. It's all gone. Yeah, they have a crappy clearance spot there. And I'm like, why? You guys don't carry any movies whatsoever or shows, nothing. But I found a copy of I guess a special edition of Tunic.
Nice.
That was there. It's like $35. So I went ahead and grabbed it and decided to start playing it because I'd heard good things. It's supposed to be like a Zelda style game with this little fox. I'm in love with this game. It is adorable. It is really hard, but it is adorable.
I've heard it's very hard, which is why I have not played it.
Well, I also found out, to their credit, and this ended up me buying a second copy of it today because Jennifer loved it so much, she wanted her own copy. Because they have really, really good accessibility options in it. Because she tried to play it. She loved it. And she's like, I can't. This is too difficult. Like, I can't do anything. And then I went back playing it, looked at the options. And they have where you can just click a button. Doesn't matter. You become completely invincible. You can make the fights a little bit easier. You can help with the audio puzzles if they're confusing. And once I gave her the cartridge back this morning and turned those on for her so she could play it, she's almost caught up to me. Like she's just exploring the world and loving it. So I was like, screw it. I looked, it ended up only cost me a few bucks to get her the digital copy. I just said, to hell with it, earned it, bought it. And she's still in there right now playing it.
Nice.
Yeah. I do like the fact nothing's in English until you find translations for it by piecing together the manual. And even the pages of the manual you find, people have like written in it. So you find like little hand scribbled notes like an old NES game.
Yeah, that was the whole idea, which is a nice touch. It's like basically playing a game for the first time and having to scour the instruction booklet instead of just looking on the net.
Well, the fun thing is my edition actually came with the entire book, which I've not looked at to try not to ruin it. Go ahead, Steven.
I did post a link for you to look at later, but
Yes.
Tunic has the it has the what do you call it? The record for the most ridiculous and longest code in video game history to open a door.
Oh my
It's spoiler
God.
free. It's not going to spoil anything for you because you'll never remember the code. But the video is 40 seconds long, and oh boy,
Oh
boy,
God.
Tunic.
I'm okay with that. That's a great throwback to old Zelda, I guess.
No, it'll sit in your mind forever. Like when someone's like, Konami code's hard to remember. You're like, do you think so? Let me
Up,
show
down,
you
down,
the
left, right,
Tunic.
left, A, B, A, B, select, start. So that's how I've always done it. All right. Well, moving on from my stuff. Chris, what about you? What have you been up to?
Well, I downloaded a demo for a game on Switch called ANTONBLAST,
Ooh.
and it is phenomenal. The animation is wonderful. The sound is hilarious. The art is amazing. It's got the same kind of crisp, fast gameplay as Mega Man Zero or Wario Land. It has two parts for the demo. One is nice and easy at the beginning, and the other one is a tougher level. It is basically what everybody thought Pizza Tower was going to be, since Pizza Tower is more of a Sonic game than a Wario Land 4 game.
Okay.
It is amazing, and anyone who doesn't like it clearly should have their head examined, but I'm sure we don't have that problem here. In any case, I was also researching various TTRPGs because the Shin Megami Tensei Tokyo Conception game is coming out in September, and
Ooh.
I have never wanted to play a tabletop role-playing game as bad as this.
I want to be Mara.
I'm sure you can be, but we'll find out when the stupid thing comes out.
Oh,
So is
Kids,
it
if
actual
you're
role
watching
game?
this, don't Google that.
um,
Thank you.
there's a tabletop RPG that just finished its like Kickstarter like backer thing called Rapscallion.
Oh.
Oh, Lord.
It's all about pirates.
Hmm.
Look into it, Chris. It's good.
I might
So-
pick your brain about Monster of the Week, because that's one of the games that I'm going to offer to my friends tomorrow.
Mm.
We are going to try something new because I can't wait till September to play any TTRPG. So
When you do that, let me know. I might have a already pre-written mystery that I might be able to provide you with. Courtesy
gasp.
of
Okay, then
There
I
you
will.
go.
So
I'll bug you about that. But yes,
Yes.
Ooh,
that's everything I have done.
nice. And saving the, I guess, last for last. I don't want to say best. That made the rest of us sound crappy. But she is technically the last one here, so the last for last. Rachel.
So
have you
in
been
my
up
in my time of illness, and I've had a lot going on these last couple weeks, because like the last time I was on the show was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. How many weeks? I don't know. It's been a bit.
It's
Probably 3.
It
been
got
a
to the
bit.
point on the last episode, I didn't even bother saying like, "And Rachel isn't here." We just kept going.
I had a lot going on, but in this
Yeah.
week, in my time of illness, I have been watching Fallout.
So good.
Yes, so good. Admittedly, I in my sleep I watched all the episodes, but I only like actually remember up through, I think I'm on episode 5. So I'm going back and I'm watching the ones that I don't remember everything from. I just kind of like a vague idea of what happened. And it's really good. I'm very much enjoying it. As someone who has never actually played the Fallout games, but I have always been fascinated with the lore, and I've watched a lot of playthroughs and watched almost all of Oxhorn's content. It's a creator on YouTube, and he goes through all of the lore and all of that. And it's very fascinating. I'm just like pulled in. It's so good. And of course now everybody's playing the Fallout games, and I'm like, good, go play. They deserve to be played. And I am kind of excited to play Fallout 76 with you guys whenever we get around to that, because we grabbed it when it still is free with Prime, if people listening haven't grabbed it yet. I think it's like free till the 12th or something.
Oh, okay. So there's plenty of time. I wasn't
oh,
sure how
yeah.
long it was.
Free to the 12th of May. Yeah. So for a hot minute,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
giving it some time. Which, you know, I find it funny that that's one of the ones that they were giving away for free with Prime instead of New Vegas, but I don't know. New Vegas also like was dirt cheap recently on Steam. But it just, all the Fallout stuff reminded me of the 76 launch and all the trailers that came out with it, and how I would annoy the stew out of my manager at Ye Old GameStop at the mall. Jeremy, you might remember Damien.
Yep, I remember Damien Ladd.
No, it's not Ladd. It's not
Or-
Ladd.
I think I remember Damien then probably.
Yeah,
I know which one you're talking about, but I think
yes.
I know a couple Damiens.
Yes, there's two Damiens. I've worked for both of them. Fun fact. The one that you mentioned, when he was at the Milton store, he was my manager because I worked at that one while I was living in Pensacola. Took me 20 minutes to get from UWF campus to that store every time I worked it. It was nice. But anyway, I kept remembering that announcement and the launch of that and how funny it was, because every time the trailer would come on in GameStop, I'd turn and I'd be like, West Virginia, and I'd start dramatically singing it at whoever was in the store with me. The customers thought it was hysterical, of course. Everybody else I worked with thought it was also hysterical. Damien was like, I can't with you. I can't, because it's not because of me that it was annoying, it's because he hates that song. Lord. It was great. It was a great time. Good memories. But I'm still playing another Code Recollection. I finished the first part. Now I'm on the second part, which is the part that I've never played before because it didn't come out in the States. I was very proud of myself because I only missed 2 origami birds in the first part. I don't care that I didn't get all of them. It doesn't give me anything different if I got all of them. As far as I know. I've also been playing Touch Detective. Haven't gotten very far with that. I downloaded a bunch of demos, and now I want to play all the Cat Quest games. So thanks, Steven, because I don't have those. So I'm probably gonna get the first one.
There's a physical collection. Look for that.
Yeah, it's like, I think the first one's like $2-3 cheap.
No, it's not. On Switch Digital, it's like $12 right now. So I
will. When it was on sale, it was like $2-3.
I guess it's not on sale anymore then.
Well, now that everybody wants Cat Quest 3, Cat Quest 1 and 2 are, there you go.
Take a look at some of the stores. Like I said, the Cat Quest 1 and 2 goes pretty cheap sometimes. Like if you can find it, it was fairly cheap just to get the actual cartridge.
I'll check Amazon. We'll see.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I purchased some like Switch games that were on sale actually today. Because a lot of the stuff is on sale because of the Indie World stuff, and I downloaded a bunch of demos. So I bought
some of those we'll talk about when we get to the news.
Yes. I bought Eden Chronicle Rising because that was on sale. So if you want to play that before the next thing comes out, like the follow-up, I guess is kind of the prologue. Gameplay is entirely different. But then I also got,
I'm curious about that one for simply the fact I keep seeing people were posting images about it, complaining about how the PC version looked really clean, and then they showed one that's like really muddy, and everyone's like, oh my god, is that the Switch one? They're like, no, that's the PS5. Like, I don't know what they did to this, but even I was like, oh, that looks like the Switch game.
Yeah. I also got like the Sega Genesis Classic stuff, and I downloaded a bunch of demos, but we'll save that for
that's a good one.
More of that talk. I will say that I got Stitch.
Nice.
And I've been playing that. It's very relaxing. It's got a lot on it, like a lot that is already like available, and then there's more stuff that you can get later, but I don't think I'm gonna need to unless they like have a sale or something eventually. But it's like starts out with like a pull. It's crazy. It's very good. It's very good. We'll go more into that later. I also got another one of the demos, Europa, we'll talk more about that later. But and then I finished reading the first book in this series, Hounded by Kevin Hearn, and now I'm on Hexed, and it's very good. If you like Dresden Files, this is like the Dresden Files, except it's a druid, not a wizard, and he has a dog whose name is Oberon, who he talks to, and it's great.
Remind me later. I might just buy both of those for Amanda as a little quiet surprise gift because she loves different books, and I think that might be one she'd like.
Oh, the first one is Hounded. Yeah, 10
I'll
out of
just
10.
quietly
Recommend.
go buy them tomorrow.
Yes, they're wonderful. Tell them. I think she and I have a similar reading taste.
I think you do too.
From what it sounds like. So if
As
she
long as
ever
there's
doesn't,
words on paper, you're in.
if she ever doesn't have something to read, and she's struggling, send me a message or have her send me a message, and I'll be like, okay, what are you in the mood for? I'm a book dealer. So
she's like that with a few of her friends also. I don't know. It's always
And
funny to watch.
My wife's heavily into Brandon Sanderson right now, trying to read all that.
good luck to her. It's quite a slog to get through all of his stuff.
You know,
She's
honestly, why do I
mostly because she has to drive a lot for her job. She's listening to all the audiobooks.
Listen, Brandon Sanderson will just like shadow drop 5 books at one time and go, I just wrote these in 6 months. And I'm just like, buddy, you need to take a nap.
Apparently, he's finally taking a break. But I was
thank
like, whoa.
God, because I think for the last like 4 years, he's been writing nonstop.
So I'm just going to plug, if you go to bit.ly/Zenspath Discord, one thing that I need to add, and I don't know why I haven't done this yet, and I just thought about it. We have a what are you watching? What are you playing? Why don't we have a what are you reading section for comic books, things like that? Like, come on.
Listen,
I'm going to fix that today.
Behind me is a library.
I might get Amanda back on Discord.
Yeah. So then
behind me is a library. Not the wall, to the bookcase over here.
She and I can talk books.
Oh, believe me, she would love that.
Because
behind me is an endless void.
Because sometimes I don't have things to talk about. Because I'm not necessarily playing stuff. I'm reading stuff. But now I'm going to play Cat Quest. So that's what I'm going to do.
So I'm going to have to fix that. But all right, so let's jump into our news. And we only have one story today. We're just going to focus on this. And that is the Nintendo Indie Direct that happened earlier this week. Which was actually, I think, a really fun one. There was a lot of good little games in there that were shown off. But let's jump into that. So
the worst one ever. Switch is doomed.
Yep, pretty much. Just
what the ass, guys?
Like just nothing at all. Surprisingly, I love how many of these are like timed exclusive, or one of them actually is just a straight up Switch exclusive, and everyone's like, the Switch is dead. There's no more games coming out for it. They're like, yeah, we're gonna launch here because it's still going to sell well. But the first game they started with, and this one I'm going to have to get because I was laughing so hard watching it. Little Kitty, Big City, coming May 9th.
I have already pre-ordered it.
I'm
not even remotely joking.
Copy, but it's so adorable.
I don't think there's going to be a physical copy.
Even if there's not, I don't care either. It's basically my cat got out.
Like I'm excited for it because like I literally was like, oh, this reminds me of Untitled Goose Game because I had I had fun watching my friends play that. And fun fact, if you haven't gotten Untitled Goose Game, it's actually on sale right now for the indie
and it also
showcase.
has a
like Cat Quest.
Yes. But anyway, no, I'm excited for it. I was just like, what else? What more could you want? Just a cat doing cat things, wreaking havoc in a city, being a little kitty.
Yeah, Little Kitty Big City is a good title. I would have also accepted This Cat's an Asshole. I think that would have worked out well. In a loving manner. But Steven, as soon as I saw this, I knew you'd be in because you're more of a cat person even than I am.
Well, because I have that and I have the disaster one too, where all you have to do is just mess up the house as much as you can.
I haven't played that one yet.
The cat lateral damage. That's what.
Oh yes, so that was good.
Because there's also another one that's coming out where you're a little Pomeranian and you have to destroy a house as much as possible.
These are
great games coming out.
Yeah, the last good cat game that I've played was Stray. which I really liked. That was
Yes,
a gorgeous
Stray
game.
was good. Yeah, Untitled Goose Game is 50% off right now.
Oh, that game is so good. So yeah,
So-
Little Kitty Big City. I'm definitely getting that. Probably end up being a double dip because I'll go ahead and buy it digitally next month, and then we'll see. Actually, God, yeah, May 9th. So we'll see where it goes. Next up, we had Yars Rising. This is from Way Forward and Atari, coming out late 2024. It looks kind of like a Metroidvania with hints of the original game being
It's
used
not my
as part of
jam.
like hacking sections.
It's very Trine, but not my jam.
I at least want to give it a shot. I want to see how it goes. It was kind of weird being a Yar game.
It's only Yars of when you're hacking it. The rest is just what?
Yeah. Chris, you have any thoughts on this one?
I actually wonder how much Atari stuff they're going to pack in there. Because if it's got a Yar goddess transformation type of thing, Atari 50 did a great job of showcasing everything they've done before. I have a feeling this Metroidvania is going to do the same thing, and they're just being really coy about it. So I want to see what they do.
I'm curious, but questioning it. I think is where I'm kind of sitting at. I know, Steven, you were already giving the thumbs down, like you were just like, no. It's like I get what they're going for. The character seems almost like they're trying a little hard, like she's kind of over the top, like in the way they're doing it. But I don't know. I like Way Forward's games, so I'm gonna give it a shot. So we'll see. Next up, we had Refined Self, the personality test game, coming summer 2024 as a timed console exclusive. This one, I liked the pixel art, but I felt it kind of lacked color. Like it seemed very bland, and I know they're trying to just keep it muted so that your choices aren't affected for whatever, but you have 23 different personality types that can be earned depending on the actions and choices throughout the game. And then you can choose to share those with others online. Do you guys have any thoughts on this one?
I don't like the color palette.
Okay.
It weirded me out. Mainly because like I don't mind muted colors, but like if they wanted to make it feel, I guess, better for the people that are retro fans, they would have picked a slightly different color palette, because all I think of is poop brown when I see it, and I don't like that.
And right now they're going on their little personality test going, interesting. We'll put that here and see what that does there.
Yes, what color do you see? Poop brown.
Ah, yes, she is a shitty person. Got it. Steven, go ahead.
So I kind of love these games that kind of are more of an experiment. Chris, do you remember the name of the one that took place in real time and played itself even if you weren't playing? And once
Project Seaman?
No, the other one for Switch. The one that if once the amount of time had lapsed, that was the end of the game. It took place over like 100 and some odd days. You were the little guy walking through the caves.
It was a full year,
It was
365 days.
Something. It was...
I
know what you're talking about. It was basically this little guy underground who was given a, basically option to destroy the world, and he just had to wait. I think it was called The Longing? Something like that.
The Longing, yeah.
That was it, yes.
So as boring as that game might be for some people, it was very, very interesting to play because the game went on whether you played it or not. So if you saw like a few drips of water and you're like, I can't float across that because there's a board down there, your guy would say, well, that's going to take like 3 weeks to fill up. If you waited 3 actual weeks and then went back to play the game, it was filled and you could cross. So you actually had to wait real time to get further in the game.
But I don't remember what the name of the game was.
It was called The Longing. It had a very Norse feel to it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I loved it because it was an experiment, kind of like this is. That's why I'm excited for Refined Itself, because it's not one of those games you want to just keep playing over and over again really fast. It's something you maybe want to play once, share it with your friends, and either they do it now or they do it later. But eventually, you share oh, how did you do that? How did you do this? It's kind of your choose your own adventure book, but you play it seriously. You don't just read it page by page.
Right.
Like I'll go back to The Longing eventually because I like experimental games like that. Because it's not, I can't say there's any other game like that. So I enjoy games like that.
Yeah, I do like games that do that, and like I said, I'm interested in this one. I remember, what was it, Silent Hill Shattered Memories, I think, was the one that
Ooh, yeah, that one was weird. I liked
depending
it,
how
but it was weird.
the opening, it was profiling you as well, and that would change the game while they were asking you questions and what stuff you would get and how you would do it. Like I always enjoyed
Like,
stuff like that.
what was the other one? Have you ever played Frog Fractions?
No.
Lord.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord.
No.
Don't make them do this.
Listen, okay, Chris? Listen, because Rachel will get a kick out of this. So Frog Fractions begins quite simply as
Don't
just
tell
like a
them too
simple...
much.
No, I have to tell her one part, otherwise she won't play it, okay? At one point of this game, I can't tell you how it gets to it, but it goes from a simple little arcade game of you just eating flies to protesting your guilt and innocence in a Phoenix Wright court of law. And that's all I'm going to say. And it's games like that that make me love when people try to push the envelope.
Frog Fractions? Is this on PC? What is this?
It's on Steam, yep.
Okay.
It's got
It
its
is
own...
an experience.
I'll have to look this up. Oh, fun fact, guys, about my cat quest for Cat Quest. Because of my gift card balance, thanks to a bunch of returns for somebody ordering things twice and using my card for them,
You told me about that earlier.
I get Cat Quest for free. Yeah,
Nice. Perfect.
exactly.
Oh my god. That's good. You'll enjoy those. So I think we are interested in Refined Self. I think Rachel and I are just kind of looking at it like graphically. It's kind of weird they stuck to that weird particular tone.
I
poop
love it
round.
personally. I love the style.
We will let you know. We will play Refine Yourself.
still
You
wanna try
guys
it.
can play No Man's Sky. Okay.
Where did that come from? Like, what the-
Jesus Christ!
I didn't. God, as much as you hate that, I didn't say I hated this game that much. Good lord.
Oh my god!
Moving
I
on.
wasn't looking at that first game going like, you know what, this game, the kitty one sucks. I'm a dog person, you know. All right, moving on. So the next game we had here was Sticky Business, and then it also had the Plan With Me DLC coming out at the same time, both available now. Once again, another timed console exclusive. This one, you're running a sticker designing business. Just kind of making little designs. You can make your own little stickers and take screenshots and stuff. And
Apparently, it's a huge hit on Steam.
Yeah, it looks cute. Hey, why not?
It's what people do in real life, so I guess people like the practice. I don't know.
Well, you can be creative with it, which is always fun.
But it apparently it has some like deep lore to it too, because when you're making stickers for clients, one of them is just like make a sticker for a child that just lost their mother a week ago, and you're like,
oh my
excuse
god,
me?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Oh, so we're getting into unpacking territory here. An adorable looking game with
Unpacking does
horrible, terrible consequences.
Unpacking
Existential
does-
dread.
Unpacking does visual cues of what's going on in the person's life, does not actually tell you of these horrible
I
things.
don't know if I have the emotional fortitude to play some of these. I'm gonna have a breakdown with other stuff going on.
I read into Sticky Business because people were like, y'all don't know about the lore, and I was just like, what do you mean lore? And I was like, oh,
freaking I had a breakdown about birthday cake earlier this month for stuff going on. So yeah,
yes, I too like my games with a side of existential dread. No, I don't. I really don't.
I'm like, dang, Sticky Business, you ain't playing.
So that reminds me of all of the, and this is not even like the emotional lore, but those side-scrolly bike games like Trials that has all the weird spooky stuff in the background. That's what that reminds me of a little bit, but not like emotional. So I remember playing it. I was just like, man, it's the same vein of stuff, like where there's a story going on in the background, or there's some deep stuff going on in the background that you don't know about until you really start to think about it or really start to notice it. Like the hidden story of games. Like, I didn't know this game was going to be about this. I didn't want it to be about this.
Speaking of Fallout, that's one of my favorite things they would do is you will just come across, and they love to do stories based on like bodies and things you'd find. You're like, how did these people die? Like they're in this weird position. Why are they sitting here? And everyone's like, what the shit?
I remember the kid that was in the refrigerator for 200 years, the ghoul kid. And then you had the choice to, keep him as your little buddy until you found his family, hopefully.
Or sell him.
350 bottle caps. Great deal.
Yeah.
I can't believe you sold me. Later, kid.
I can't believe I can go get that pop gun I wanted now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, the deep lore.
All right. So, this next one, I think Chris might have something to say about it. ANTONBLAST. Coming November 12th with a time console exclusive with an art style and gameplay that reminded me of Pizza Tower and Wario. Kinda.
I don't know. I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, dang, I thought you'd played it.
Moving on.
He said it looks good.
It does look really good.
Play the demo. Play the demo. That's all you can do.
Boy, it's a loud and brash trailer. It's like right in your face there. I did like how the second character was very much more toned down. She's like, what? Yeah, sure. Like, I'm here. Like, whatever.
Until you
play as her. When you play as her, they're both the same amount of crazy.
Fair enough.
She's angry.
I'll probably download these tonight and give them a shot.
I will not be playing that demo because I don't like games like that. So,
to each their own. For people who haven't been able to play a game like Wario Land 4, which was very unique in very much of its style, its audio, it was very experimental and actually led to Metroid Fusion in terms of gameplay. This is the closest we're going to get. So, yeah, if you like Wario Land 4, play Pizza Tower and ANTONBLAST.
You got me to get Pizza Tower earlier this year, and I've really enjoyed it. So I will give ANTONBLAST a go for sure.
There you
go. Next up, this one is Valley Peaks coming 2024. And all I'm going to say is frogs. It's frog people.
I like how much it looks like there is to do in the game.
My thoughts exactly.
Is this going to be about the graphics again, Rachel?
Yes.
I like how much to do.
It looks like mushy oatmeal.
It looks like a fun adventure game.
It looks like they're
frog.
No, it's the graphics are bad on purpose, and it's
an art style.
It's
Chris is like, I can't. Welcome back, Rachel.
We apologize to the developers of Valley Peaks. We just don't like these certain types of frogs that are drawn badly, apparently. I don't know.
No, it's not even the frogs. I like the frogs. It's the ground and the environment. The trees are fine. Everything else is fine. But literally the background environment, like textures.
I like the frogs. Everything else sucks.
The frogs, everything else is great, but whatever texture that they got to use, it reminds me of TV static, and it just I don't like it.
I'm wondering how much that's also compression on the video. I want to see how it looks when it runs. There's not a demo. It needs one. I'm getting this regardless because Amanda's going to want to play it because there are frogs involved.
It did say later this year, so if there's a demo, I might check it out, but if listen, some game textures just bother me. I don't have an explanation for this.
Rachel, if you do like it, you are contractually obligated to mention it on the podcast so as not to make the developers cry. Like when I made fun of El Shaddai last podcast.
Wait, you made fun of El Shaddai last podcast?
Yes, I did.
And
listen to
and the developers cried?
If they listen, I bet they will.
Oh.
I
Now Jeremy
reacted.
cried because he was just like, "Wait, you didn't like it?"
I love that.
So here's the thing. I didn't play El Shaddai either, but anytime I hear about it or I watch like stuff from it and I hear all the angel names, I go, "Oh, angel names."
Rachel, as I mentioned before, I did get to talk to the developers, and I have like interviews with Shane Bettenhausen and some of the
Yeah.
people that help work on it and so forth. And yeah, it was an
Angel
interesting game.
names.
Yeah,
So.
very, very much angel names. So the next game they showed is Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, coming May 16th. This one, the art style really, I don't know why, I kept reminding me of Killer 7.
It does.
Anybody else kind of see that?
Very No More Heroes, Killer 7.
Yeah.
Reminded
Type
me of
vibes.
Rachel, very
the other
tired.
game, the Flowers of the Sun and Moon. Very
Mhm.
confusing game for DS.
If there's a demo, I might check that out
I
before
like
I
the
buy it. But
style
it does
of
look like my kind of vibe with the mystery and the puzzles and all that.
After that, we had Europa coming 2024 with a demo available now, and this one, it looked really good.
So I will tell you, in the demo itself, it's very watercolor. Like the edges around everything are intentionally blurred.
Okay.
And I think it would actually, believe it or not, look better on the original Switch and not the OLED. And the OLED, because OLED, it's so crisp that it looks kind of. But it might just be because I'm playing it on a small screen. Like maybe if I play it in docked mode, it might look a little different.
It's kind of funny
good.
because the OLED screen's not that much bigger than an original, and they're the
It's
same
not because it's a
resolution.
bigger. It's just how it.
There's a color shade difference, but there's not a pixel difference, so it actually should be softer because it's a little bit bigger screen.
I just don't know how you can enjoy that game when Tears of the Kingdom exists now. Like, I don't see how that game can be enjoyed anymore. Like,
I can't enjoy Tunic because Tears of the Kingdom exists. Like, it's a Zelda
here's the
game.
thing.
I don't know how
It's
this
the
is.
gameplay is not even remotely the same. All you're doing is jumping around, collecting stuff, and looking at the beautiful scenery. There's a story behind it. That I mean, you heard the voice acting. There's just one guy talking. There's nobody else, and his little boy is a robot. I'm pretty sure, and there's nobody else around except this little boy and the animals on the planet. So I'm sitting here going, where'd all the humans go? So I'm fully anticipating that if I end up getting this game when it does come out and I carry over my progress from the demo, because right now I'm still playing the demo. Like, it's a good bit through. I'm like, wow, is this a full game? Like, did they release the full game by mistake in the demo?
That has happened.
Yeah.
And it's I'm fully foreseeing some dark crap happen and us find out some sadness, because it's already got some hints of it. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's very relaxing music, very zen, and it's nothing like other exploration games. So just saying.
Oh, I get it. It's very zen.
Everything's zen.
But yeah, it's not like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Nothing like it. Completely apples to oranges.
I at least want to download and try the demo, and I think that maybe to the benefit of this one, of having a demo, we could see, okay, here's how it plays and goes. So
yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it so far. It's chill.
all right. Next title of this one made me quite happy. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, coming July 2024, is a timed console exclusive. This is a Ninja Turtles roguelite game that is now finally breaking free of Apple Arcade, where it originally was at. It's drop in, drop out online multiplayer. I didn't see anything about local multiplayer. It's just the online. But it looks really good. A lot of unlockables and things you can earn. They do have a currency you can use, but it's all earned in game. It is not ones you pay for, as it should be. I kind of wonder if that was an option on the Apple Arcade side, because it was a mobile game at the point, but it does not seem to be the case for the Switch. So yay. Looks good, and I have a feeling we'll be playing this one, at least Steven and I. because I think you'll get Ninja Turtles. Brent's gonna get it, so he can join us as well.
No
Reminds me of
question,
like
Brent will be getting it. Yeah.
reminds me of like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, a little bit of Hades.
It has that
really
art
good.
Love
feel.
Alliance.
It has that Marvel Ultimate Alliance feel.
Mhm.
It has that touchscreen tablet original art style to it, which is interesting.
I know everybody's in love with Hades 2 right now because of the technical test.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I haven't watched it. I want to go in completely unknowing for that
But
one.
when I watched it, I saw the art for all the gods already.
All I saw was art for one frog. That's all I've seen, so it's okay.
That and I saw the discourse, which we'll talk about later.
I still want to play it. It looks good, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, I'm excited for because I'm hoping they dig into more of the history of Ninja Turtles. Like, I'd love to be able to open up different timelines or different character designs and art styles and stuff like that. Like, that'd be great. Even if they don't, though, it seems like there's a good variety, and then you can earn permanent upgrades for each run as you're going through, so you can there is actually a progression you can do, so it's not resetting completely every single time. Games like that, I get why people like them, but it kind of gets boring to me, like, because I keep doing the same thing starting off every time. So
Usually
know.
the longer running or dialogue centric roguelites
Mhm.
tend to have that slow progression thing going on. Either you die and you keep a little bit of what you had,
Mhm.
or once you make the run, everything changes and you can alter things a little bit.
My problem with roguelites is a lot of them tend to be, I feel like I'm hitting a wall and I can't, they make it so difficult, so much of a challenge that it's like, okay, I can't get past that within reason. And I just burn myself out and end up moving on to something else. Like, even my favorite ones, that's kind of happened. It happened with Hades, and stuff like that, where I'm like, this game is great. I love it. But I'm doing the same opening spot over and over again. Dead Cells, I only kept playing because they kept doing expansions. So at least I could start and do something different. Like, when Castlevania came out, I was like, all right, cool. It's like a new area to me. But even that eventually got to the point I'm not getting anywhere new, and I just kind of move on. So that might just be me and my attention. Who knows? Next up is a game we haven't mentioned anything about so far. We really should talk about Cat Quest 3, coming August 8th. Steven's already just hating on it. Local co-op, which is always good. I wish it had online, but local makes sense. And then
Might
demo
later.
available now.
They
Yeah, they
could
could do it
later,
later.
you never know.
Yeah.
I
But
don't think
I do
I don't
agree.
think the second one did, so I don't see why the third one would either.
Right.
Mm.
I do agree, and I had the exact same thought, Stephen, that this is automatically already better than Skull and Bones because it's got a pirate ship and people can play together on it at the same time and get off the boat and do things at the same time. Already better. So
I
Listen.
hear more crying developers.
Oh, who cares? They can cry about it. They did this to themselves.
Ooh.
Quadruple A my ass.
oh yeah. Quadruple
Well,
S.
just to say, it just proves there's better pirate games out there than Skull and Bones.
Yeah, 40 million people right now are played the beta for.
Oh, I know. Friends of mine tried to get on
Wow.
the PS5 one, and it was like, "Oh, it's so crowded that we can't. We can't."
Sea of Thieves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sea of
Okay.
Thieves is in good hands.
There we go.
Yes.
Just so our listeners,
Yeah, I
all
got my
five of them
pirate
know.
games all mixed up. I was like, Sea of Bones.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves. Yes.
Skull of Thieves.
Yeah, it's good. It's one of my favorite games on the PC. And I still have to finish the latest Monkey Island.
Hmm.
Is good. Is good.
Just as a reminder, we're talking about Cat Quest 3.
Yes.
Right. Pirate game, good, get it. All right.
Yes, get it.
So
I ordered the duo copy of
Nice.
1 and 2.
Yeah, it's both on
Awesome.
cart.
Yes, it'll be here on Wednesday.
I need to break down and just do that. I don't think I have it.
It's like $32 on Amazon right now. There's not a lot. There's not a lot left.
I'll have to look. So next we have Stitch, available now as a console exclusive. This one's just on there. I'll go through a couple quick details, and then Rachel, since you started playing this, I'll let you talk about it. This can be played via touch as well, which is great. You can just play it portably and use the touchscreen. It's an embroidery puzzle game with 180 starting puzzles, and there's going to be daily and weekly challenges as well as special event puzzles coming out. The Shikaku puzzles are only available each day for 24 hours, but the weekly puzzles and the event puzzles, once you unlock them, you have them forever. And then there's also a free stitch mode that once you finish a puzzle, you can go back and kind of color it in or stitch it however you choose to, which would be kind of fun to mess with. So, Rachel, what are your initial thoughts on this one?
I will say the touchscreen controls leave a little something to be desired because I was like tapping
Okay.
on it and I used every single finger that I have, and
Mhm.
sometimes it just wouldn't do it. So I had to switch to the like cursor mode where you actually use your joystick
Okay.
to select stuff.
Well, that's
I
good
don't
to
know
know.
if that is just my touchscreen misbehaving or you know, whatever.
The
But
game
who
begs
knows?
for a stylus with the game like that.
Yeah, it's a I kind of wish I had a stylus at this point.
That would
So
make sense. Yeah.
but no, it's very relaxing. I've done a few of the puzzles so far, and yeah, but I haven't done
Okay.
any of the. I don't think they put the weekly or the daily stuff in yet. As
That's
far as I
probably
can
too
tell.
soon.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think those are coming fairly soon, but I mean, once they start up, they'll kind of go from there. Um, Steven, is this one you're thinking about getting as well?
Well, since my wife does crochet, she says it looks interesting, so she's on the fence. But that other game, what is it called already?
It's much simpler than
I
actual
keep
crochet, by
I
the
keep
way.
trying to block it out of my brain. Chris was playing it yesterday with the fruit.
Oh, that.
Suika.
Yeah, she's addicted to that more than anything.
Hmm. I haven't played that one either. Stitch, I've looked at because
Be careful. Once you start playing that, you'll never play anything else.
oh god,
I was just tired. I just wanted something simple. God.
It's just one song that plays forever. It's like the commercial break from Bluey. It's like, what are you doing?
oh that would get on my nerves. Uh, so after Stitch, we had a quick game breakdown, and this one in this whole grouping was actually the one had a game I was most interested in out of this whole show. But started off, we had BZZZT, summer 2024. It's a 2D platformer and shooter, like side-scrolling shooter. Kind of, it looks fun, but it looks kind of generic. I want to see a little bit more about it because there's so many 2D platforms out there. It's kind of, you could mistake it for a lot of other ones.
To be fair, it does have a very striking art style. It
It
takes
does.
advantage of the pixel work as best as it can.
Mhm.
So, I'll be looking at it at the very least.
I think it's a more pleasing pixel style than one of the games we'll talk about here in a minute. Next up, we had SCHiM, or SCHiM, coming July 18th. This one I'm most interested in because you play as this it looks like a shadow frog creature, but you have to make your way around the worlds by only being able to survive in shadows. You treat them like puddles and so forth, so you're jumping between shadows trying to get through the environment. Like, so if something's rolling down the street, you can hop into its shadow and ride down and try and jump out to something else as you're going or as people are walking. It looked like really creative to me. So
Yeah, it reminds me if anybody played it for Wii, the game called Lost in Shadow.
yes, I love that game. I loved how they did the art of that one. This one seems a little more fluid, like all real time for a lot of
Yeah,
it too.
because the graphics and technology have gotten crazy now, so it's pretty cool.
Oh man, did you ever play that one, Rachel? The Lost in Shadow on the Wii?
I don't think so. No.
Ooh, I have to get a hold of that one for you. You really should try it. What about you, Chris? You ever mess with it?
I have not, but I like this new one, so I'll probably give it a try, same as you.
Nice. Yeah, the Lost in Shadow, just to go back to that one, it's like a platforming game, but you never see the character. You just see the shadow that it would be giving off. And you're walking around the shadows and pushing things around to move the shadows and adjust it to get through as you're like climbing this mountain and going around. For a Wii title, it's strikingly beautiful.
By Konami.
Yeah, surprisingly. Next up, we had Animal Well coming May 9th. This is the one I was saying is a little bit kind of weirder on the pixel style because it's a pixel CRT style platformer. It looked like it had a heavy CRT filter over the pixel art, which kind of distorted a lot of things. You play as a little blob jumping around. Looks like you can sometimes jump over energy balls, and there's a big crane as a bird. I mean, so who knows? This next
Name
one,
of the show.
yeah, next one. I was like, Rachel, here's one for you. It is Duck Detective: The Secret Salami, coming May 23rd. It's a duck that's a detective. Sold.
Chris finally played it, and I told him, I was like, Chris, as soon as you really get invested, it's gonna stop. And then he came over to me and he's like, it did.
Oh, this is
And
a
that's
sequel.
and that's why I haven't. Wait,
Is this a sequel or?
no, there's probably a demo available.
There is
Oh.
a demo
Demo.
available.
It's a demo, but as soon as you solve your first problem, it opens into this big area where you see all these problems you can solve. And as soon as you touch anything, it's like, well, that's the demo. Goodbye.
It's one of those
hate
worst
that.
things where it makes you start formulating. It's like, okay, so now I just have to go to wait, no,
And that, my friends, is why I usually don't download demos. But
And the worst part is even the detective is just like, well, that's the end for me. I'm like, what? No.
This would be where we normally play, but the demo's over. That's the best part. This duck has this wonderful grizzled detective voice.
listen, even
God.
Suki was a little angered by the news of that being a very short demo. She let out one of her little yip yips.
I think the best demos for those are usually in two different classes. You've either got where they give you the first case, which was like the detective one where you were dead and you were jumping on Ghost Trick.
Ghost Trick.
The demo for that, I remember originally you could play that first one where you're saving the girl in the junkyard. Like it would let you play through that, and it would talk and be like, "Hey, this is the demo," and then it'd move on from there. Those are okay. You get to finish, what you're doing, and get enticed to go on. The other one that I like is when they make a demo specific mystery or puzzle where they're like,
Oh,
love
that's
that.
pretty rare, though.
It
Yeah.
is, but it's really cool the ones that do that because, like, all right, here's the puzzle. You kind of mess around with it and figure it out, but you haven't spoiled the game for yourself at all. Steven, go ahead.
I also like the ones that are self-aware that they're a
Yes.
demo. If you can find it, and if you play the, I believe it's the Legend of Dragoon demo, when you're in one of the towards the end of the demo towns, and you're talking to the townspeople, one guy's like, "I could tell you about this, but this is a demo," and a lot of the
I love
townspeople want to tell you a lot more, but they're like, "But this is a demo."
Yeah,
I love when they're self-aware just for that part.
those usually tend to fall into the second option I was talking about, where they've made one specifically for the demo, but that's always great. So I want to play it just because it's a duck detective. It looks so stupid in the best way, and I want to play it. I'm happy to hear he's got the gruff detective voice out of a duck.
As he should.
As he should. I agree.
And he's got the classic, downtrodden PI thing where he's just got a really bad life. He's down on his rent. His wife has divorced him. As soon as the phone comes on, he's like, "Annie, I'm sorry. I haven't touched a piece of bread in weeks. You have to believe me."
So I know the game isn't out yet, and I don't normally like DLC being announced ahead of time, but I would straight up pay for an extra whole detective thing with him trying to solve the murder, and you just find the dead body of the goose from Untitled Goose Game, and you're having to investigate the people around him who finally snapped and killed the damn goose. I'd play that. That would be great. He just, annoyed the farmer too much, and he finally snapped and killed the damn goose. Rachel was like shocked, like, what are you talking about? Okay. All right, so last one we had was another Crab's Adventure coming April 25th. We'd seen this one before, but we got to see more of the actual gameplay, which was nice to see. It seems to move kind of smoothly. The graphics are a little bit softer than they showed before, but I kind of expected that because it's a Switch game.
Like a Souls-like, which is odd.
So it looked pretty good. Let's see. And then the last game that they had for the entire show was SteamWorld Heist 2, coming August 8th. still a turn-based. I'm sorry, squad turn-based combat, but now you can control your actual submarine for combat in real time with upgrades you can buy. So once again, it's still better water combat than Skull and Bones because that's all we're gonna do. And then from that, you can steal and wear enemy hats, which is great. So
Yeah, SteamWorld's getting giant.
indeed. All right, so that pretty much finishes up that part. All right, so from that, we'll go ahead and jump over then to the big question. Yes. If you notice, we had to pause for a second. It might be a weird edit. Whatever, moving on. I see other shows that do weird jump cuts all the time, so if they can get away with it, we can do it once.
We could do a very dramatic transition where everything spins.
There's a glitch in the Matrix.
Actually, that's where we put in this. That's where we put in this TV static, like noise.
Well, we'll go back to months ago when I tried doing that animation swipe every single time, and you guys were like, "Stop it!"
Yes, stop it.
You just don't. We met way off to the side, and I at least got my sound so I can edit better. That's what I got. I'll take it. All right, so the big question for this week: with the success of game to TV series shows like The Witcher, The Last of Us, and now most recently Fallout, what game series would you like to see explored in a fully funded and game accurate way, be it live action or animated? The other thing is it does not have to follow a direct story. Kind of like Fallout, it actually takes place outside of the normal stories at a later time. So it doesn't have to be a 1-to-1 or a conversion. Looking through some of these, the one I really want to start, Chris, with yours. I love your answers, and I want to start with that. So go right ahead, please.
All right. Well, first two are related, of course, but honestly, it would be the three.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Wario Land 4, Pizza Tower, or Anton Blast, since they're already so crazy and so well animated. I want them as Rocco's Modern Life style cartoons. And I have seen on Twitter, I've seen people take the Rocco's Modern Life style and put it for Anton Blast and Pizza Tower. So I know it would work. It's just so crazy, so zany, so wacky and insane-y. It would just be wonderful. And aside from that, I would love the long, convoluted story of BlazBlue to be turned into a Netflix series. Animated, not live action, animated. Something along the veins of Castlevania. The veins of Castlevania, I like that. But, yeah, something like that. So, yes.
Isn't there like some other game series that is like convoluted as crap that also has an animated series that has... No, it's something else. No, it's not Dot Hack. It's something else. There's something that is like BlazBlue that has an anime already that is very,
Really?
I think, I don't know.
What,
JoJo?
Legends or Kana or something like that? Maybe. I know that one's got a
there
lot
could
of
be.
animated.
What was it?
Blood. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But I remember there being an anime, and it's rated him for like,
I think Darkstruckers
Interesting.
had an anime at one point.
it's something.
An American
I
series.
think I
we
just
can
heard
talk about?
Chris.
Okay. There was a good one that was made in Japan that had two separate things, and it was wonderful. I think it was even made by Studio Trigger. It's wonderful and beautiful, and they should keep that one going if we're talking about it.
People
and then there's
still
the
cosplay
American
from it.
one that never happened. That never happened. Neither did the Street Fighter one. Let's
I'm about to say, are we
next
talking
one.
about
Let's talk about something else.
Christian, who did the Rocco's Modern Life? Was that Klasky Kasupo, or was that a different?
I
It
think
was
it
Joe
was.
Murray.
Oh, okay.
So that was somebody else.
What was Klasky Kasupo? Was that Rugrats?
Rugrats and early
Oh.
Simpsons and Real Monsters.
Oh,
Real
Monsters. Now you owe me a Coke.
We're even now.
To the fridge.
Oh Lord. Steven, what about you?
Two of mine will never happen. One of them I would like if it happened, but I wouldn't mind a live action Zach McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders. I think we're ready with stuff like Lower Decks and just the stuff like what do you call it? The Seth MacFarlane Star Trek ripoff.
The
Orville.
Orville.
Orville. I think with
Orville.
stuff like that, Zach McCracken could work because of all the craziness there. It would be kind of like, almost like a mini series, so it could be done pretty quickly.
Okay.
Other two, they would have to have some care put into it. One of them I wouldn't accept unless they could get at least one of the originals back, and that's Jeff Lupetin. I know he's out there because he's even liked my post every June 6th when I celebrate Snatcher Day, and that is an animated Snatcher, because there's still that mythos out there about the Snatchers. You don't have to just have just his story. You can kind of have leading up to it, or the whole story that we only learned about, stuff like that. And lastly, because it doesn't have to be like Jeremy said, it doesn't have to follow just the actual story. It can kind of just be the adventures. It could easily do Oddworld. I would prefer Stranger's Wrath, just because that one for me was the funniest of the series, is him going through his stuff. But there's just so much in the Oddverse out there that I think there's a lot of potential, especially now that CG has progressed in a way that it could be done justice, so we don't get the garbage like Beast Wars and Reboot.
Hey, that was top of the line at the time.
Now we have Transformers 1, so get used to it.
I have thoughts on that one. Talk to us about it over on the Discord. I'm not against it, but whatever. All right, Rachel, what about you? What are your choices?
So I have a couple, and they're all varying wildly in genre.
That's fine.
The first one is Red Dead Redemption, because they did such a good job with Fallout. I would love to see Amazon specifically do Red Dead Redemption, because one, they could get the violence of it, because it was very violent, and it's an old Western thing. They don't have to do the events of the first game or even the second game or even Undead Nightmare. They can.
Undead Nightmare would have to be a Halloween episode.
It would.
Just a one episode.
One Halloween episode would be Undead Nightmare. Yeah. So they could do. They literally. It's Western. They could do anything they wanted with it for the most part. They just have to follow the points, like, certain points set up in the lore of the games, whatever.
I think the writing would be the key for that one.
Yes. I think they could do a very good classic violent Western with it. I think that genre, that particular game series is perfect, ripe for the picking for a TV series, honestly.
For sure.
I mean, there's been so many good Western shows out there over the years that, like, I would love to see that universe, like, just pick.
Look how well they did Westworld.
Exactly.
I mean, the actual Western parts of that, Red Dead would have fit perfectly in there.
It would very, very, very well done. Yes. And then, of course, going to the opposite side of the scale, my favorite series of all time, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, I think would be wonderful as a cartoon.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Me too. Chrome is a very small animation, like a very small game studio. They'd have to probably like sell it to somebody for someone else to do it.
I wonder if that came up if they were like, we'll animate it, but we want the rights, and they're like, no.
Didn't Talk make it? Because he was Nickelodeon after a while. Because he got the Nickelodeon's moniker after a while. Didn't Talk make it?
Talk had a cartoon.
Talk had a cartoon, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they sold the rights to it. I want to say that's why a lot of the later games in the Talk series were a little bit. But anyway, I think it would be great because, like, in the more recent game, they have skipped the re-release of the third one entirely, I guess.
I don't know why,
but I don't get it. I'm thinking about DMing them and being like, "Can you just tell me your biggest fan? Why?" And I'll keep it to myself. But I just want to know why.
Right next to Mother 3. Sorry, it goes next to the other three.
I guess so. But I think it would fit in really well because there's what Bluey. It's Australian, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's quite a pitch. Hey, you like Bluey? How about Ty the Tasmanian Tiger and his boomerang?
Yeah. Like it's Australian, so people are now acclimated to that kind of accent more. And then we've got a lot of TV series out there that are taking place in not just Australia, which there's been a few of those over the years, but over there in New Zealand and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of very successful TV series that take place in these locations. So it's not like people could say, well, we don't know if that'd be very you could make it very campy and comedic because it's like just full of Australian stereotypes, which I think is funny as heck. And it's got
Down in
animals.
Tasmania, come to Tasmania.
And it's got like, you know, it's got just fun talking animals too. It's genuinely funny. So they could place it anywhere in the timeline that they want. And it'd just be fun. I just want to see more from that franchise, and that's just me. And then there's another series out there which I own every game of, but I have never played without other people like in the room with me because I get scared and hand them the controller.
Yes, you do. Oh,
Though that they've tried
A lot.
they've tried a lot. And they keep failing. CW is the one that did it last, but they kept trying to do weird stuff, and I'm like, CW, take a nap, sweetie. But the Amnesia games. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember.
Those, wow, really?
So
of all things,
Yes.
So I think, you know, horror is in right now. Like
That's
what
fair.
with the successful the
Scary
success of Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, like all of the Haunting of series, you know, the American Horror Story, all of those different things, that kind
Right.
of genre being really popular. And, you know, just haunts and Halloween events being really popular right now and people wanting to be spooky. This is genuinely scary, and I think it would be very good. It plays into the Lovecraftian kind of side of horror without it being straight up Lovecraft, because I don't think they've actually tried to turn anything Lovecraft into a TV series other than Lovecraft County, which I don't know if that counts because I have not watched all of it.
It's good.
I've heard it's good, but it's got like 4 or 5 games, and they all kind of wildly vary in where they are located and what time period they are located in,
Right.
as well as like the tone of the horror, but it's still horror. So I think that would be really good, where you could explore more of the mythos and the lore of it in a different way, and actually give it enhanced storytelling and it still be genuinely scary. So I just think that would be very, very interesting game series to see put to the big or the small screen, whatever you want to do with it. And I like kind of picking like who I would pick to do that, and I'd say Netflix would do Amnesia just because they do horror pretty well typically.
I
Scariest thing
agree
is how
and
fast they
disagree with
cancel
that.
everything.
Well,
honestly.
so Amazon is doing the gore real well. Good job. A+. They're doing great things with that. But everything that I've seen with the Haunting series, they do very well over there at Netflix. No complaints.
Well, no, what I mean is, I think the reason we wouldn't get Amnesia so easily would be the same reason we don't have stuff like Call of Cthulhu, the TV series. Everything about Amnesia and most Lovecraftian mythos made into games, the horror is very personal.
Yeah.
And it's very solo. Like they're trying to get into your head.
Have you?
I don't know if that would work though.
Have you watched the Haunting series?
I have not. So maybe they've done it well.
It's pretty personal. Like,
have you seen the mind fucks that are on Netflix that they have on there?
They're 100% like existential. Like, I watched one episode of it, and I had to stop. Like, I could only watch like one, and I can usually go through a series. I don't watch horror very often unless it's a very specific type, like spooky Stephen King type of horror. But I gave that a try because it had that familiar vibe. But I was like, oh no, I'm watching this in broad daylight once a week, like it would be watched if it came out as a serial, because I don't think I can tolerate more than one episode a week.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
but like I think they do that very well.
Nice.
So, but that's what I picked. There's probably other ones if I really thought about it. I could offer as a suggestion, but my genre, like the only other thing I thought of was they've already done an Ace Attorney anime, so I'm not sure this would count. But if they did a live action Ace Attorney a la The Office style,
They kind of did do a live action, but they also made it on like their live action stage too.
yes, but I'm talking about, you know how like The Office style and What We Do in the Shadows style, where it's like a mockumentary. Can you imagine that live action and it be
Maybe.
in the Ace Attorney universe?
That
I
would
think
be entertaining.
I think they would have to call that one Miles Edgeworth though if they did.
Oh, no, 100%, because him and just Gumshoe just absolutely hamming it. You've got Mr. Grumpy, Miles, and then Gumshoe trying to make everything like, ah.
It's okay, pal.
Yep. Just like that. Just like that. So that's my stuff.
All right, cool. So for mine, what I was looking at originally was something like talking about horror. One that I think does a little bit better was Eternal Darkness, because you could do the format of that one of each episode being like an anthology series. So each one could be a different tale of that whole this setup with the book through the centuries. So you could have short stories for each one that kind of combine together, which was how the game was designed. I think you could have variations on that as well, which would work out great.
I would love though if that became a series, but then while you're watching it, either something flashed on the screen, like or like a voice whispered to mess with you, so you thought you were going crazy.
So you're watching in a 4D theater. So you've got like 3D glasses on. They spray stuff around you.
Well, like at home, they could mess with the audio mix and like if you're listening in surround sound, like switch the sides.
There's something that gives you like a message that you're trying to piece together. Like, what is it telling me? I think I'm going crazy.
Or people with those crazy, like not just surround system things, but the light things that show different colors based on what's on the screen. They could have like some kind of weird programming where it does weird crap.
Because it only goes by the feed through for those, so it'd have to be whatever's visually on
like
the screen.
What did the character always say when they came back from that? What was it?
It isn't really happening.
Yeah. So imagine like that was the cue in the episode when somebody says that in any tone, and then everybody like looks around for like the what's going on, and they're like, "Wait, what did we miss?" And you have to keep rewatching the episode to see what was different.
It could be like the movie Clue, where there were several different showings in different theaters, and each showing had a different ending. So you never really knew, depending on where you went.
You could do that for streaming. You could have, like, depending which one it's on, like say it's on Amazon or whatever, if it just all of a sudden kick back to their menu for a moment. So you think you hit the remote, or it'll just like mute.
What's wrong with my thing?
Right. Just have it do something like that, which would be great.
There was that Heist thing that you watched in certain colors, and you could watch it in any order. That one with what's his name from Mandalorian, Gianno Esposito Carlos or whatever.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I haven't seen that one.
But basically, you could watch it in any order. But you there was different orders you could watch it. There was like you could start with this color order or that color order, and it was just a different experience each time. So I was like, that could work too for it.
The second one that I had was Titanfall, because that's a whole series you've got, even before the games or even after the games of figuring out, which would be nice to have something after Titanfall 2. EA, come on. But like, maybe it's like the bringing up of the technology, like when they're creating those Titans or how they use them in their earlier wars and things like that. Kind of like with Fallout, it would be fun to expand upon that in a way, reference
so Pacific Rim, but good.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Pacific Rim 1 was good. 2 had good.
We will cancel the apocalypse.
2 had fun fights, but made as much sense as some of the 70s Godzillas. Yeah, and then the animated ones were just questionable at best. And then my last choice, specifically because we've been playing so much of these and we've been diving into this world, is Gears of War, which they've wanted to do as a TV series or a movie for a while. But I was thinking like covering before Emergence Day, like during the Pendulum Wars and so forth. You get a little taste of that during Gears 4's opening and little bits talking about it from previous games, but actually seeing that whole thing. You can have a whole political thriller and, you know, wartime movies and things going back and forth on the groups, and even maybe little hints throughout it of the oncoming, you know, of all the groups coming to come out and kill them, popping up. And maybe that's how the season can end, as Emergence Day starting, you know, go all to town with that one.
They do need to get the license to at least one song, though.
Yes, I agree. That'd be a hell of an opening theme. Actually, I think that would, even if it's just for the first episode, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, because then the commercials, people would be like, "Oh, that's Gears."
God, I still remember those commercials too.
Just show a black screen and start playing that piano, and it's like, oh. That's like video game version of Black Parade. You start hearing doom 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 doom, you're like, "Oh crap."
That's what I liked about Fallout 2, is they did use the music that they used in the game, so everything was tied in so well. I was like, oh, I know all this. So, all right. Well, I'm not forgetting anybody this time, right? Chris, I really apologize about last week just cutting it off without realizing it. It was a bunch of stuff going on, Rachel.
Much like he is right now, he's got nothing to say because he's
Yeah.
muted.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah. I
fair
didn't have
enough.
anything to say last time. It's fine.
All right. Well, this has been episode 126 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network podcast. If you are listening to this, you can watch the video version over at youtube.com/ZenspathCOM. Feel free to like it, share it, you know, leave us some comments. We can talk with you on there. It helps us out a lot. If you're watching this and you want to listen to the show, you can find us by searching for Zenspath Entertainment Network podcast, pretty much anywhere you find your podcasts at. If you can, give us a rating, review would be great. That helps the algorithm get our show out to more listeners as well. If you want to talk to us directly, you can find all of our information over at zenspath.com, over on the contact page, as well as talking to us directly on Twitter at Zenspath Podcast. And then we've also, you know, got our accounts over at Blue Sky, Threads, places like that. But this has been episode 126, and we're out. Peace.
Frogs.
Perfect.